1, 2, 3. Cocks don't pop at all, poppycock cocks do poppy by 4. And that's why all the folks on poppycock keep poppycocks in a jar. But once I met a girl on poppycock back in the poppycock hills, they won't let me back on poppycock, reckon they never will. Well, poppycock, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old poppycock, poppycock, you and me, Rose and Baldini. The earth don't spin at all on poppycock, flatter than a hot roadkill. And beer don't stick to balls on poppycock, reckon it never will. Once I met two folks on poppycock, one bald, the other likes cats. She wild as a rosy, quicker than a satellite, no poppycock about that. Well, poppycock, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old poppycock, poppycock, you and me, Rose and Baldini. Take a tray.
Do-si-do. Don't step in the poppycock. It'll stick to your shoe. What's that? A SpaceX rocket.
Sheep don't like to flock on poppycock, ain't no poppycock pins. You might just find yourself on poppycock, waking with a poppycock kin. And poppycock, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old poppycock, poppycock, you and me, Rose and Baldini. Why so freaking early? Poppycock, you and me.
Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is time for the poppycock, and as usual, we're full of poppycock, and so much of it. In fact, I think the time change has got everybody all screwed up. So again, Rose still dealing with all the goodies that makes the Crow Show go. So we're still trying to work all that out. I was trying to change my schedule, and then all this craziness happened with all this nonsense. Oh dear, it's a mess, that's for sure. And I think even the lovely beefy Karen is sleeping in this morning. So you're gonna have to just deal with me today, I'm afraid, unless I get a last minute ping. But we'll do our best to break down the poppycock. Of course, Karen has been dealing with all the stuff in advance of the Solar Return Festival. And so if you have not gotten your tickets yet, you still can do that. I'll drop this link here in the chat. FlatEarthFestivals.com. Let's see here. Drop that right in there. And you can get your tickets to come hang out with the cool kids, including Jason Lindgren, Media Bear, Christian Knapp, ODD TV lined up for a big set. Watson Atkinson, Chief Crow, and the Flat Earth Worms, One Big Love, and even a jam session with yours truly, the Great Baldini. So, and if you want to get in on that jam session, we have a few folks already signed up. It's going to be lit, as you know. So send me an email, unintended.consequences3@gmail.com. Tell me what you play. And of course, yes, fuck the fucking fuckers. Of course. You know how to do that. You can grab your t-shirt either at this website, the Etsy shop. I'll drop that link in the chat as well. Hey, Ted. How you doing? Good to see you, Ted. I even laughed at myself. I never listened back to the programs, but Ted posted a little thing the other day that he clipped out of the Thursday's Poppycock when Karen and I went through the Fake X rocket. Oh, my great big jeepers. I couldn't keep it together. I was literally crying, laughing at that thing. And then he reposted it, and then I listened to that, and I was like, yeah, it made me laugh as well. Just listening to it. It's hard to keep your shit together when they're doing that stuff. All right, what kind of poppycock we got today? There's plenty of it, as there always is, because that's just how they be. The poppycock never ends. All right. Biden continuing to blame Trump for border crisis. Well, he's going to continue to blame Trump for everything, and they'll keep doing that. I've seen, probably a dozen articles today still bitching about the orange one. Oh, dear. You got to have a scapegoat, right? I'm sure it'll be back to Russia soon enough. Oh, dear. It's pretty exciting. Let's see. I guess I'll circle into some of this stuff, right? So some of the biggest news, of course, is surrounding this little deal right there. You can see me highlighting that health, bit of health news. And, oh boy, is it poppycock. That has led, as you know, probably already, and I'll tell you what, I'll do this now and then I'll get it out of the way. If you didn't catch my weekend stream, any of them, then you wouldn't know what occurred with me last week. So on Thursday, as you know, I am going to the Solar Return Festival, which of course requires travel because I'm in the Pacific Northwest and it's in South Kakalaki. So I put it on the calendar as I always do, and I got questioned by the owner of the company with whom I contract. So I'm a contract employee, not a regular employee. I work as a contractor, and I have for about 4 years, and things have been pretty much the same the whole time. I am free to take other gigs, especially those that pay better, provided, with some, there's some etiquette to it, right? If I'm already scheduled for something and then I drop that that'd be in poor taste, right? So there's some etiquette about it, but suddenly it's like all these, questions about, did you ask about that? Well, no, I did the same thing I always do. Oh, it's always been this way, but it hasn't. And then it came up, well, are you gonna, did you get vaccinated? Nope. Are you gonna? Not likely. What about a test? Yeah, no. So then it's like, okay, you got to get tested or quarantine upon your return. I'm like, okay, I'll take that under advisement. You better. And then it created a bigger stink, and then the emails continued, and some of them were hostile, and not on my part. And ultimately, again, as I mentioned this weekend, it looks as if this relationship is probably permanently broken. We'll see what happens when I get back, but it is simply an opportunity for me. I think Dad is just nudging me to be done here and to move on. And I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. I don't have any, I'm not butthurt about it. It's just odd. But here's what happened yesterday. Oh, dear. I'm not proud of it, but I have admitted to once a day when I go I have to go into the front office and get a temperature check and all that nonsense garbage. And so they do require that I wear a mask for that. It takes about 30 seconds. I walk in the employee entrance. I go to the ops manager's room. He shoots me with the thing and writes it down, and I leave. And then I take it off, and I don't wear it again the rest of the day. But this is why I moved my office to the warehouse, so I wouldn't have to interact with people. But when I do have to go to the front for any reason, which is pretty rare, I have to put it on because that's the requirements of the state. So, whatever. Anyway, so I walked in yesterday, and I had to bring a product from the back up to the front so that someone could pick it up at will call. And I dropped it off, and I went in to tell the kids at the front what was going on. So there was a gal there, and she's kind of a new employee, and she's about 20. And as I approached her, I was about 6 feet away from her. Her eyes get big, and she's in terror. And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Oh, you're not wearing your mask properly." And she just starts stuttering. Now, keep in mind, there's some of them do use wrist for a temp, but at our office they don't. I've been when I took my wife to the hospital, they did check my temperature at the wrist. So in any case, keep in mind that there's somebody sitting 8 feet from her, not wearing a mask, who is on the phone. And so, but she looks at me in terror. Well, this is because word has gotten out that I don't buy into it. And so it's entirely about a belief system. If you're afraid of it, then you're okay. If you're not afraid of it, you're the devil. And this is going to continue. And I just bring that up not so you'll feel sorry for me, but to help explain some of these articles that I'm about to show you. Right? Because it's all nonsense. It is completely poppycock. All right. So here we have from The Guardian, a small number of Facebook users responsible for most COVID vaccine skepticism. That is complete bullshit, as I know many people who I would even consider normies. Thank you, Ted, for dropping that in there. It is rather amusing. If you want to see somebody be completely unprofessional, just lose their shit. This is a complete lie. So I know many normies who are skeptical of it, and as well they should be, because it has had no time for testing. It has been rushed into service, and it's a very new kind. Up until October of 2019, it was considered, or rather October of 2020, it was considered to be completely theoretical, using mRNA as a vaccine mechanism because there's no adjuvant in it. So there are many people who are skeptical or wary about this, and they say they want to see how it turns out. And so you'll see a variety of these articles blaming people for blaming and shaming. So it's now, according to The Guardian, it's a small number of Facebook users responsible for it. You'll find other articles that say, let's see, where did I see that here? Some Latinas fear COVID-19 vaccine. So it's the immigrants, it's the Facebook crazies, it's a few in the African American community. It is just uninformed people, right? Those of us in the know, we know it's all good and safe because you can trust science. It's all sciencey and you can trust the science. Nonsense. Right. So, but they continue to play this game, and it's very interesting. So here we go. I don't need the vaccine, according to the Associated Press. The GOP worries threaten the virus fight. So they're going to blame it on Republicans and the lingering influence of Cheeto Jesus. So here's a whole article. As you can see, it's a rather extensive article. Basically, you can blame Republicans, you can blame Trump, you can blame Facebook crazies, conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hat wearing. You can just blame anybody. Blame your dog, just like you do if somebody farts. You just blame the dog. They're going to blame everybody for this because you don't want to be in that group. So continues to be interesting. But according to, let's see here. Do I have this article? Let me see if I can find this because I found it very interesting. That Marvin Hagler is another celebrity that has recently passed away right after getting the jab. So we first had Hank Aaron, notable Hall of Fame baseball player, specifically got the jab to encourage other African Americans to get it. And then shortly after his second one, passed away. Same with Marvelous Marvin Hagler, a noted boxer, passed away right after getting his second jab, and now it's reported that his wife says, no, it wasn't that. Deaths after vaccinations may have nothing to do with it, but people who got a positive test result and then had a fatal car injury, that was definitely wrapped up to a COVID death. So the hypocrisy knows no bounds. Here we have another death of a healthy mom after COVID vaccination under investigation. But you know what? It has nothing to do with vaccination. It's just coincidence. It's just bad luck. Doctors, South Carolina deaths reported to CDC after COVID-19 vaccinations. They don't tell the whole story because they don't tell the story that we want to tell. This man dies after COVID-19 vaccination, but doctors say the shots are safe. Yeah, I'm just not taking my chances with that because they lie to you, as you know. It is a constant barrage of bullshit. We've got an enormous amount of bullshit that we're swimming in. Let's see. I found a couple of interesting things here. USA Today, a Texas restaurant took a stand on masks and an ugly display of hate followed. And again, what we see in the real world is the hatred comes from the mask-holes because they're angry. They're angry because you show them to be weak and compliant. Most of them you can see from their behavior. Just like the gal in the front office yesterday. She didn't respond to a guy 8 feet away from her who'd been there for 10 minutes with no mask. It's me who is wearing one but she thinks improperly. But because I don't buy into it, again, I keep my mouth shut. I'm not very vocal about things. I keep to myself, and I always have there. I'm just don't have a lot to say to those people. So I know you find that surprising because I usually do have a lot to say here. But you guys get it, right? So I can talk to people who get it. So yeah, it really is. So why are they so angry, right? Again, it seems that they're mad because they're inconvenienced, and they'll be damned if they're going to let you get away with not being inconvenienced like they are. So this ugly display of hate comes from those people wearing the mask toward those who don't wear them, not the other way around. I've seen several videos, that get posted from time to time. There's always these news stories about the anti-maskers. Now, again, I'm not, an anti-masker. I'm just a regular guy. There's maskers, and then there's us, right? We're not anti-maskers. We just doing the things we always did. I've been doing it for 54 years now. Breathing just fine without one. Doing fine. So, I wouldn't say I'm an anti-masker. I'm an anti-retarded. Oh, dear. Anyway, I found this article interesting. When the world shut down, some people woke up. Right. And this is, again, USA Today, health and wellness. But of course, they're not talking about it in the same sense we are. They're looking at that, quote, woke society, that cancel culture. But again, there's often little bits and pieces of truth in the things that they say. They take something that's true and flip it upside down. Just like this one, Prince Philip leaves hospital after a month-long stay. He had apparently a successful heart treatment, which I think is impossible because I don't think he actually has a heart, and probably not a soul either. That's my opinion. I do not present it as factual. These things are just my opinion. So get that disclaimer out there. Speaking of the jab, again, elderly people are, again, not everybody's dying off, but we'll see what happens over time. Because I'll go back to this idea that the mRNA vaccine as a premise was completely theoretical up until October of 2020 on the Wikipedia site, right? Which is supposed to be this bastion of truth. Okay. Yeah. I looked into it about a year and a half ago, and when I was looking into a variety of things and noticing how the narrative kept changing to only reflect the mainstream narrative. And of course, Wiki was supposed to be, this group, place that everybody could kind of chime in and correct one another. But of course, you see that they'll change that narrative almost in real time, just to ensure that it follows along with the mainstream narrative. I discovered at that point that 80+% of the edits to Wikipedia were made from a series of IP addresses in Langley, Virginia. Well, so correlation, I guess, is not causation, but it's certainly interesting. That would be Langley, Virginia, is where CIA and NSA headquarters are, just to point that out. It says here, of course, according to the USA Today, that U.S. government won't be issuing vaccine passports, but yeah, they will, but just not today. But they will. They're going to let it roll out elsewhere, so you can count on that. What else do we have? I was going to point out people getting this. So this 80-year-old, this is local to me, an 80-year-old tenant accused of stabbing employee multiple times in Lynnwood. So an 80-year-old guy living in a little mobile home park stabbed an employee who was a 61-year-old female several times, and they haven't said what the cause was or the motivation. I got $5. It says he got the jab within 2 weeks. The second one, I got $5. I don't mind losing the $5. It's my opinion, but I'm gonna say that something got up his butt that shouldn't have been there. Okay, so again, this is back to they're blaming people who are skeptical of the vaccine of being everything but a good person. So you might be Republican, you might be a neo-Nazi. You don't know. More embezzlement stuff out there. You got former something embezzlement, former something embezzlement, former something embezzlement, former something embezzlement. So, interesting. We'll keep an eye on that as we do. Notice the mass shooting thing. A few days ago, we pointed out that if you put in mass shooting surge, you got a variety of articles that all purported to be in a local story, right? So this is the one we're talking about. Mass shooting surge in Florida as nation faces record high from Tallahassee Democrat. I found 17 states whose had exactly the same headline with very similar article, all purporting to be a local news story, and it was not. But I proposed at that time that they were going to start ramping up some of these things. It was a precursor, and sure enough, we start to see more of these things occur. So not wrong about that. Why do mass shootings spawn conspiracy theories? Well, because it's poppycock. So come back here, COVID vaccine death. You're going to find more and more of these things where they say, nope, not anything. Misleading memes suggest deaths following COVID-19 vaccination are due to vaccine. Let's see. So it's misleading. Let's see. I was fine. I was healthy. I got the jab and then I died. It'd be misleading to blame that. Father died of COVID-19. His children say they got vaccinated the same day they buried him. Other people are reporting getting tested for it by requirement. They had to get tested for travel or whatever after they'd already had the jab, and then they came up positive. So again, lots of questions going on there. And again, I don't trust any of it. All right. There was a number of things here. Let's see. I'm going to go here and pull up these amazing articles. It's interesting how synchronicity works. I had just been having a very interesting conversation with my wife about Lake Baikal in Russia. It is by far the largest freshwater lake in the world. It is the deepest. It's more than a mile deep. Supposedly has a bottom sediment almost 3 miles deep. And if you put the top of the mountains right next to it, all the way down to the bottom of that, good morning, Gillette May, good to see you. If you went all the way down to the bottom, you'd have almost 12,000 meters. That's a pretty substantial space. So, So anyway, I was just looking at that. There's all sorts of interesting things. There was a number of Russian military reports from the late 1960s, early 1970s of 10-foot tall strange beings that lived there, humanoids that attacked and killed a couple of them. All kinds of strange things. You can see glowing orbs on the water. They say, it's just the igniting of the methane gas, and there is a bunch of methane in that lake. It's a really strange lake. And then on one of the articles that I got sent this morning, thank you to Butt Big Bear for some interesting articles. Among them was an article including Lake Baikal. So interesting synchronicity, because we were just last night talking about the interesting stuff about the lake. It is, again, very deep, very cold. It has by far more volume than even the next three put together. It is crazy. Anyway, so this is some of the great poppycock for you. Amazon rainforest now is contributing to global warming. So I guess we had to get rid of it because that would help. We're going to block the sun, and we're going to cut down the Amazon rainforest because global warming bad. That's what we're told. What do we got here? Underwater telescope placed below Siberia's Lake Baikal as Russian scientists aim to detect particles from billions of years ago. Yeah, good luck with that. So we got that, which is nice. Russia and China are going to get together and build a scientific research station on the moon. You betcha. Yeah. Yeah. And they're going to send sperm and eggs to the moon as well, because that's right. This guy, a Capitol writer, reportedly told colleagues that Nazis should have finished the job, sported a Hitler mustache. Do you buy any of this? Yeah, no. Oh, there you go. A YouTube channel named Pull My Finger. Maybe I should have a band name. that. I had a couple of good band names. Actually did a band in L.A. for a minute. We only did 2 shows. It was well received, but we were all super busy at the time. Had some great players. Some of them were notable session musicians with some famous folks. So it was a pretty good band called Egregious Philbin. Not as funny anymore because he's dead now. Is Regis Philbin. But Skeptic Tank was another good one. Yeah. Anyway, so Pull My Finger, possible. Yes, this. Yeah. I found it interesting. I'm not going to pull up the screen, but I did see somebody posted one of those does not age well Twitter accounts. And the guy on the, let's see, both of these tweets were from 2017. And in early 2017, I guess that he sort of had it backwards, but in late 2017, he had stated that white nationalism is an evil. It should never be allowed. It's a tribalism thing that should never be allowed. And yet earlier in the year, he had said that be proud of your Jewish heritage, smack down anybody who says anything bad about Jews. So, nothing wrong with being tribal in that way, but if it's a tribal that you don't like, then again, the hypocrisy knows no bounds, really. If you, now it's shameful to be, they're shaming white kids for being white kids. So, but that's not racist, right? All right. The Vatican. They're broke. They're low on reserves to cover their deficit, so they need donations. So if you want to donate to the Pope. Really? Really? Unreal. Yep, Vatican is asking for your money because they're doing cost cutting, during the during the lockdowns. They were all for the lockdowns, but now they're complaining that, people didn't come to church and give their tithes, so they need their money. Fuck, that coffee is good. Good. Let's see, what else we got here? Russian and Chinese cyber espionage, putting Biden under pressure. I noted earlier, and let's see if I can find this article, that Biden bristled when a member of the Justice Department made negative comments about North Korea, saying that they were they were a criminal enterprise, and he got upset because those are his peeps. Here's a really interesting, again, juxtaposition. Note that this is the very top of the Google News summary page. Biden aides bristled when justice official called North Korea a criminal syndicate. Okay. But note the very next article, right? So you would think the very next article would be really important. This is a really important article. Trevor Noah, Andrew Cuomo is the only person who still wishes it was still 2020. Ha, 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 ha. So a complete shill comedian, as they all are, telling a really shitty joke, not funny. And that's the second news article. Like anybody gives a flying fuck what he thinks. Unbelievable. Yeah. Oh, dear. Speckler family, or rather the Sackler family, offering billions more in opioid settlements, because it's just cheaper to pay off those suits than it is to actually not kill people with opioids, because that makes money, right? So we got that. And here we go. Back to Republicans are a challenge when it comes to getting the vaccine. Again, anything to denigrate. So these days, Republican is synonymous with white supremacy. Anything that's right of hard left. If you're not one of their crew, then you're a neo-Nazi, white nationalist. Oh dear. Oh, this is a good one. So Wolfgang Van Halen, the son of Eddie Van Halen, noted guitar player who recently passed away. Boy, you talk about entitlement, just a whiny little bitch. He's hurt because the Grammys did a tribute to his dad, and he didn't think it was long enough, big enough, or Yeah, he's not, and he wouldn't perform himself. They asked him to perform. That would have given him at least 2.5 minutes. But he's pissed because it's just 15 seconds. Oh dear. Yeah, get the fuck over it, dude. I mean, we all gave him props, and that's good. But really, I don't know, man. Yeah, 10,200 in unemployment benefits won't be taxed thanks to the American Rescue Plan. 10,200 in unemployment. Yeah. Again, they're going to give you so far the stimmy, right? Hey, don't work for 8-9 months, a year. Here's $1,400. That'll make up for it, right? Unreal. Good on Ammon Bundy. Refused to wear a mask to his trial. A judge ordered him arrested. I bet that won't hold up if you took it higher. Well, of course, again, that would assume that people actually did what was right and followed the letter of the law, but they don't. That's not how it works these days, I'm afraid. U.S. Capitol Police officer suspended for having an anti-Semitic document. And what does that document entail? The anti-Semitic document? Let's see, because I'm going to bet that it's probably pretty... the protocols of the meetings of the learned elders of Zion. That's been going around for a long time. They keep saying, does the Anti-Defamation League, that this has long been debunked. And again, whoever wrote it up, I mean, the thing that makes it so terrible is that everything that's on that list has happened. So he thinks the lady doth protest too much. But he had a copy of that. And so we take all allegations of inappropriate behavior seriously. So you don't get to, don't do any research for yourself because you're going to get in trouble. That stuff is just not allowed. We don't do that. Interesting thing here dealing with cryptocurrency. Of course, many people are using graphics cards to do hashing for Ethereum and Bitcoin mining. NVIDIA made a new 3060 graphics card, and they had intentionally made it, they reduced the hash rate, so making it potentially undesirable for crypto miners. But then they had a driver that they released that undid that. So, I forgot about racist biggest homophobe. That's right. I'm sorry. The homophobia, yes. I love you, Karen. You can still come and join if you want. I did the same thing, right? I did exactly the same. So Karen apologized that she had a coma-like sleep, and I'm like, me too. I was supposed to call her on Saturday after Unintended Consequences. I had to feed the wife, and I was going to just take a brief nap. Well, I kind of overdid the green butter, and then that nap ended up being a coma. I totally spaced. I didn't even wake up until later in the evening, and Ceiling Fan Man called me, and then, of course, I was like, what? Had another snack, and then went right back to bed, so I completely spaced it till the next day. So I owe you one. No problem. But you can still join if you like. Just ping me if you want to come in for the last half of the show. I'd love to have you. Anyway, so NVIDIA then said, okay, they had this driver there was a driver that they had that unlocked the performance. They had earlier said that it wasn't just a driver holding back performance. They said it was built in. And yet, it did exactly what they said it wouldn't do, which is unlock the performance. So we'll see what happens. I think we have, standing by, the lovely and talented Beefy Karen. Good morning.
Good morning.
No problem, kiddo. Again, as I said, I owe you one, right? So absolutely no problem. Can you believe the poppycock in the world, kiddo? Can you believe this bullshit?
No.
I know. This is.
I kind of don't want to believe it, to be honest.
I'm with you. It has gotten to. I'm really at a place of incredulity, and this is what your lovely Ted, the beefcake that he is, he clipped out that section of our Thursday CockyPop dealing with SpaceX because Ermagerd, I lost my shit completely. I just couldn't. I was like literally crying. It was just so preposterous. And so now, he got his chance to mock me. But I'm looking at that with most of the world now. This just sheer incredulity at what people will buy. I just can't with these people.
Yeah.
I think it serves well. So during that breakdown of the SpaceX thing, and if you didn't see it, I don't know, Ted, if you can drop that link into the chat again. He clipped out about a 10-minute portion where Karen and I were just howling with laughter. Watching the SpaceX thing. But she made a salient point, which is that the way that it moves, especially on its initial liftoff, gives support to David Weiss deep inside the rabbit hole. And Jaron Campanella has also mentioned the same thing, that it's potentially these are balloons. NASA is one of the biggest, in fact, the world's biggest consumer of helium, and creating a shortage of helium because of their use of it. They never explain why. Well, we certainly have a good deal of evidence that those quote-unquote satellites are in fact, they're similar in design to what they describe, except they're, rather than floating around in a 10 to minus 17 torr vacuum of space in what's called the thermosphere, which has a temperature up to 5,400 degrees Fahrenheit, well beyond the melting point of any of the materials used in their construction, they're just hanging from balloons, high-altitude balloons. And so very similar to that kind of support for what we see, I think watching the reactions of people as they are told the most preposterous, ridiculous, unbelievable things, and not only buying it, but just like with this fake X launch, they're excited. They're like, oh, this is so great. Like people, the virtue signaling about how proud they are that they got their jab. It does seem to support this idea that it is a spell. They are under hypnosis. There is no logical thinking going on whatsoever. What do you think about that, Karen?
Yeah. That's pretty much what's happening. Yeah.
I mean, all the evidence. Again, if you're unfamiliar with it, I began a little more than a year ago, and embarrassingly, I haven't finished even the first phase of it yet because I've been spending my time with you guys. Elevator to the moon, right, Gillette? Yeah. At least there was an elevator to space for sure. I didn't get off the top floor. Anyway, so I just derailed myself. Oh God, where was I?
The elevator to the moon.
No, before that, right before that. That's what distracted me, was her commenting about the elevator to the moon. Oh, yes. So I hadn't finished phase 1 of the Awakening Project. And so a little over a year ago, in fact, what began my channel to be at the outset was the premise, why do some people awaken and some people do not? And I had some ideas about that, and so I wanted to do a study to see if I could come up with corollary information as to what people have in common who are awake and at least aware of these things versus those who are still in the matrix. And early on, I got very powerful proof of concept, right, that there is some corollary things that we all have in common. Not everybody, but there's a number of things, right, that we do show in common. But what has come of it, right, is it seems to underscore and very clearly outline this idea, the premise that beyond just the power of suggestion, which is the very basis of hypnosis, that by a combination of the power of suggestion, NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, and a variety of other techniques, including the flicker rate of screens, displays, that sort of thing, and a whole variety of full spectrum programming, it is hypnosis. It's a kind of spell. And it is almost incontrovertible at this point. When you look around you and you see the behavior of people, there's no other way to describe it. They are under a spell.
They behave like they're under a spell.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think you can use if you want to demonstrate this to yourself, right, is introduce an idea to them that's like right up in their, like give them solid evidence from what they would consider an authoritative source that what they believe is wrong. For example, Fauci's saying early on in March last year that no one should wear a mask, that they're useless unless you're in the medical community. It serves that purpose. Show them that, and you will see a particular reaction. Right? You're going to see their blood pressure immediately rise, their face will flush, they get angry, and they don't behave in a rational way. They never stick to the data. They will never argue the details of the information. They immediately start yelling at you and use ad hominem attacks immediately, and without exception. This is how they do it. What are the odds, right, that people would behave in an identical manner to the same sort of prompting? Right. This is one of the things that early on led me to this idea that I began seeing when discussing the idea of geometric agnosticism with a few folks who I thought were bright. Right. I said, hey, just look at the data. And almost without exception, their response was the veins in their forehead started throbbing.
Yeah.
Right. And so they had no interest whatsoever in looking at the data. They didn't want to hear it. They wanted to, their head exploded. And I thought, that's not right. That's not an organic response. That is a triggered response, right? That everyone.
It's programmed,
exactly,
yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Does not compute.
Bingo. Right. And so there is a blocker there. There is some sort of instilled, like a post-hypnotic suggestion that causes them to have this immediately hostile, emotionally elevated response and yell at the other person. Right. And so this is not normal. And when you begin to see this over and over and over and over, and again, similarly with the mask holes, their behavior is a programmed response. It is not organic. It is a programmed response. They are under a spell. And it is like zombie world. They like literally they're under this spell. And I saw this with the gal at the front desk yesterday who went into panic mode. Again, her excuse was, you're not wearing the mask properly. But again, there's a guy sitting 8 feet away from her not wearing a mask, but he believes in it. Right? I don't believe in it. And so that's what makes me a contagion to them is what we, our outlook. We are now the ostracized. We're the lepers. We're the modern day lepers.
Yeah.
And instead of pieces of our body falling off, our old beliefs are falling away. And that's just not allowed. So
Nope.
Now, what to do? Well, for me, I've made my position clear. Fuck the fucking fuckers. I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge, or at least Seattle, leaving the city, finding a place to hang out with other like-minded people and get together with some chickens and goats and whatever we can grow, and get down with our bad selves out there, right? The best cult ever, the poppy cult. I told a friend of mine yesterday, I got a call, a buddy of mine in Salt Lake City. He's a very close friend and most amazing drummer I've ever worked with, and that includes some amazing drummers, Tommy Aldridge and Vinny Caliuta, who I worked with previously, and those guys are amazing. But this guy, Wes, is phenomenal. Just both natural talent and educated chops. Right, started taking lessons when he was like 4 years old, and he's phenomenal. Anyway, I was super excited to hear he had basically called me to see where I was at on all this stuff, and because he has just recently kind of crossed over to our side of the fence in terms of questioning and everything, and even converted his parents, if you want to say converted. He got them to stop reading the news. His dad was a longtime news follower, as you know, what was I. And back in the day, we would all sit around and have coffee and talk about all the current events, that sort of stuff. I was excited to hear that he was now advocating that. He's thinking about starting a channel of his own. And he asked what I was doing, and I, kind of laughingly said I was starting a cult. And then when I explained it to him, he's like, "Oh man," he goes, "That's just a hippie commune. I thought you were really going to do a cult. I was ready." I was like, "No, man, it's a joke because, as soon as we get out there and do it, that's what the mainstream is going to say, right? It's like, oh, it's a cult." I love my wife so much. She's got the right attitude. She's like, "No, we present it to the world as sustainable living with zero carbon footprint. We put all the buzzwords on it. That's what we're doing," and I love it. Right. Her vision for it is looking for a place that's got frontage road. So as far back as we might be, have some kind of frontage road, maybe on a state highway or something. Well, we could set up a shop there. And so that's sort of the front end. So we put a nice face on it for the people coming by. And this is where we sell our wares and an opportunity to make money, that sort of stuff. But nobody gets past the front gate.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, she's a bright gal. That's for sure. Yeah. Anyway, we are already seen as nutty, right, by the mainstream, because that's the only thing they've got. That you'll notice they can never argue the facts. And it doesn't matter whether it's space, whether it's the shape of the earth, whether it's health things, whether it's the events surrounding a variety of episodes, from buildings falling down in New York City to kids getting shot by. Anyway, doesn't matter what those are. They never will argue the points. They always go to just a way to shut you up. What about the children? How dare you? What about the dead people? Oh. They never argue the data. They can't, because they will get their ass handed to them, especially by people who know what the fuck is going on. And this is especially true. I mean, you can't watch anything, any of the content from David Weiss. Right? They just all they attack him as a person. Nobody ever really takes on the data. They'll throw out sticks and shadows, entire body of science we've known forever. Really?
Yeah.
We? Well, how about I disprove that for you in 10 seconds? Yeah, well, you're dumb.
Yeah. You're just a dumb fuck.
You just don't get it. You don't understand. I love that one.
Yeah, you just don't get it. Mm-hmm. Okay, explain it to me like I'm 5.
It's like exactly where I was going to go. Explain it to me then. Well, I don't have to tell you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's remarkable. And that's how it is. And so from this point on, again, it's not up to me to tell anybody what to do. But if I were to give any advice, right, this is at least the tack that I'm taking at this point, which is I know I've often said I don't play chess with pigeons. Right. And meaning that, inevitably they will always just knock over all the pieces, flap their wings, shit all over the board, and flap away claiming that they won. It's just pointless. They don't even have the intellectual capacity to even, most of them, comprehend the data at all. They don't even know. They just they've got Dunning-Kruger disorder or Dunning-Kruger effect, like textbook style. They believe they're smart because they think they're parroting something another smart person said, and that makes them smart. And so they're smarter than you. They don't even understand the things that they're saying. So this is their behavior, right? And so rather, I have long taken the approach. I just won't argue with them about it. They're just dumb because it's frustrating, and I have a great deal of respect for people like you and David and others who can keep their cool and just talk through it with people who are losing their shit. You're better than me.
Well, don't say that, because I don't think I can talk to someone who's losing their shit. Like, if people start getting aggro with me, I don't know that I could handle it as good as David does. I think I might bite back.
Yeah, and then I hear people say, "Oh, well, he's he comes off as arrogant." I'm like, there are times that if out of context, yeah, you could say what he says sounds a little bit condescending to people. But if you dealt with the kind of bullshit he did for as long as he has, you'd probably be a little snarky too, right? And I guarantee you, I have my days.
Well, sometimes they call you arrogant just because you have an answer for stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I've gotten into arguments, like early on when I would get into arguments with my mom, she'd be like, "Why are you talking to me like I don't know anything? You have an answer for everything." And and she made it, she said I was being that way, but I didn't mean to be that way. It's just that I've been doing this so long and I've researched so much, and I was asking those questions too. I asked all the same questions that all these people ask, except I went and I found the answers. So when I reply with an answer, it's like they go, "Oh, you think you know everything." No, I don't know shit, but I did look into this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And just because I can say it with confidence now, because I'm convinced, right? I mean, the thing that really sunk me, honestly, when it comes to the shape of the earth, that was a big one. But what was trying to go back and understand the history of how the current heliocentric view came about. And that was the one that really did it, right? Once I put together the breadcrumbs of how they put that together, it couldn't be more obvious that it was a series of ad hoc explanations piled on top of each other, constantly changing, and all of it simply hypothetical, right? And all of them openly at the time saying, "Yeah, this is just the way, it's the best answer we have," or it's just an idea. They all said that. And then it became, went from just an idea to you're an idiot if everybody knows this. That was the really sinker for me. It wasn't trying to, in fact, it was more trying to prove the heliocentric model was when it fell apart. It was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's when it fell apart for me too.
Yeah, rather than trying to disprove the FE, quote model. I don't really think there is a model.
No,
because there's not enough data, right? We suffer from data anemia. There's just not enough of it. But we can certainly, and again, I say this over and over about the truth community. I think it's kind of a misnomer. We don't know what the truth is, but we can certainly pick apart the lies, and you can demonstrate something to be fraudulent. And that's what happened to me. And so once I realized that there was questions that needed to be answered, specifically, why can we see too far? Some of these things, right? And then, man, when I got to the idea, when I just ran through in my head the idea of gas giants, planets, and a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum, I was so angry with myself. I was like, how did I ever buy that? How did I ever buy? And of course, we've never seen centripetal force ever demonstrated. Gravity, as described, either certainly Newtonian gravity, which is mass attracting mass, can never be shown at any scale beyond the theoretical planetary scale. That's the only place you can see it, is to imagine it. And of course, Einsteinian, which is now more than 100 years, has replaced Newtonian gravitation. And again, Newton even said this idea is so preposterous that no one who thinks clearly would ever believe it. So don't ascribe it to me. They did anyway, of course. It's called Newtonian gravity. They put his name on it. But yeah, the Einsteinian model simply says it's the effect of an unequal distribution of mass.
Bendy space-time.
Exactly, bendy space-time. This is, and most people who argue don't even know that, right? They're going, mass attracts mass. Demonstrate it. Show that to me, because I can show everything the opposite, right? Anyway, they don't even understand their own model. And so once I kind of got some of these things through my head, I was just so irritated with myself, going, how and why did I ever buy that? It's just, I was furious.
You know what's funny? I just thought about an exchange I had online one time where somebody said something about gravity, and I said, which gravity are you talking about? Newtonian gravity or Einsteinian gravity? And I said something about that, and somebody else replied, they're like, I'm surprised that you're a flat earther and you know this. Just because I think the earth is flat, I must be retarded and stupid, right?
That's what they think.
They were like amazed that I said something that was actually true.
That's exactly what they think. They think that if you don't buy that model, you must be seriously what do you think, we missed that day of school? Yeah. Oops, I didn't know that. Really? It's round? Holy shit. What? We landed on the moon? No way. Oh my God. And the hubris and arrogance of people who believe themselves to be, smart. I see this over and over, for example, on Facebook, and I think this is one of the things that contributes to this whole Dunning-Kruger thing, is these things like, only a genius can figure this out. You must have an IQ. Only people with an IQ of 140 can figure this out. And it's like, seriously, you could do it in 2 seconds. And it's like, I've responded to a couple of those. Only people with an IQ of 40 believe that. Look, I'm so smart. I saw that blue isn't red. I'm a freaking genius. It is. So we digressed a bit, but again, at this point, my take is not to argue with any of those people ever, right? I'm not going to go there at all. I just shake my head and move on. I have some pity for them, but at this point, really, it is simply to support those in our tribe as best I can, in whatever method that I can, and. I just, again, want to say thank you so much to a number of people in our community, David Reif and Mark Bloom and others who have been so generous to give out their personal email addresses or, to say, hey, if you need somebody to talk to, here's how to reach out to me. You guys are awesome. This is exactly what I want to see. This is the kind of behavior, right, that shows the integrity of the people in our community, that this is how you respond to nonsense. It is not setting the place on fire. Right? We don't have to have a mostly peaceful protest, in air quotes, and set things on fire because we didn't get our way. Right? We simply support and care for those around us who are in need. And I will never deviate from that. That is, so, yeah, anyway. So, yeah, Doc Michael, I do want to move. In fact, not just want to, it's in process. We're actively doing it, and we have been since the day I first brought it up. We had discussed it already between my wife and I, and considered the options, and decided that we did feel led to leave. We didn't know exactly where. And then one thing led to another, and I got some nudges, and I began looking all over, keeping all the doors open. And it does seem like, I'll be in your neck of the woods fairly soon, Karen. See what you did? I'll blame you for it. But yeah, it's not even a direct result of that. I mean, I know people will say, oh, you just went there because they were there. I don't know. I mean, certainly, Cammie encouraged me to look in that neighborhood, but ultimately, I just go where I feel led, and that seems to be where I'm led to go. So that's where I'm going. It appears to be. If there's a last minute change, I'll follow, wherever Dad points me. But that's what I got, right, is that pretty much everything that I do in that respect is guided by my relationship with the Creator. And so I don't have to worry about it, right? I get on the weekends, as those of you who are here, many of you probably already know, in addition to the Unintended Consequences stream on Saturday, I do 2 streams on Sunday, Ancient Wisdom for Modern World and Sola Scriptura, or sort of scriptural, depending on the week, that delve into more spiritual aspects, right? And specifically the relationship with the Creator. And I'm unashamed about that. I'm not particularly evangelical in that. I just, I describe my own journey and try to encourage others who are looking in that direction as well. But there are people, again, who want to tell me that, you're doing it wrong, or, oh, you're misleading, you're misteaching. I'm like, teaching? What the fuck? How am I teaching? Right? I read scripture. I give my own views on things, and I talk about my experience. I don't claim to be an authority on anything, and I'm certainly not telling anybody else what to do or what not to do. It's not my position to do that. But I am delighted when other people say that it's helpful to them or it gives them encouragement. Love that. But yeah, I don't really, frankly, just kind of point this out, I don't really give a fuck what anybody thinks. Again, not in a sociopathic way, but I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I don't need to prove or get approval from anybody but my Creator. If that's going good, then I'm all set. Usually when that happens, I get along really well with others who are also pursuing light rather than darkness. And those who are embracing the darkness can't stand me. Okay. I realize that's going to happen as well. But I'm not chasing after them trying to, go, no, wait, love me. I don't need to do that. So, anyway, I will say again, I'm not interested in having a debate in the comment section, right? If you want to tell me what you think, feel free, but it's better if you send me an email. I'm more likely to see it. But it's not about that. It is from my perspective, right, entirely about supporting and helping one another out. And if we can do that, outstanding. If you spend any time dealing with theological issues and you're going to have perfect theology, miss me with that shit. Right. Just straight up. Because if that's your focus, right, then if you spent any time in your relationship with the Creator instead of that, you would have no time for any of that. And you'd also realize that it's the antithesis of what He actually said. So just again, don't mean to digress too much into that, but, just if you're getting geared up with your keyboard warrior skills and, tell me what a horrible person I am because I call the Creator Dad. Yeah. That's who He is to me. And if you don't like it, way over there is where you can fuck off. And when you get there, keep going. Keep going until you've completely fucked off. Just all the way over there is where you can fuck off and just keep going. You just go ahead and get all the way up off my back on that, because we're each having our own experience. And in the same way, I don't tell anybody else that they're wrong. I might say I disagree with that or I see it a different way, but I don't know that I'm right. I don't know that they're wrong. Right? I see evidence enough to support my views to the point that I'm comfortable with it. Beyond that, fuck, man, I don't know. Oh, dear. Well, I think I've lost my mind this morning.
Yeah, I'm a little bit I don't know. I think my body was sort of preparing me maybe by making me crash so hard because actually today I do start another course class that because I finished the biomagnetism one and now I'm starting a new one. This one is eight or 9 weeks long, and it's a very deep, in-depth course on crystals.
Oh man. I want some of that.
Yeah. I'll share with you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. However, the teacher, this woman who teaches the course, she's like, she used to be in education. She was like the head of a science department of schools and stuff, and she left all that to work with crystals. She started working with the metaphysical properties of crystals. And so she teaches you the science behind what crystals are and how they work and the metaphysical properties. However, she does still think we live on a spinning ball. So I'm going to have to put that through my geocentric filter and
yeah, right.
translate it to geocentric terms. But I'm still pretty excited about what I might learn here in this class. So
yeah, and no, that's awesome. I noticed some comments in the chat about where people can go, and it's like, yeah, that's a couple of places that those who are looking they can go for free, right? Places you can stay for free. One of them's out of my lane, and the other one is stay in your own business, right? Just I used it. One that I came up with when somebody was harassing me about not wearing a mask, and I've been using it since because it struck me as funny because it really shook them up. I said, "Thanks for your concern, but it's not really your concern," and I will continue to use that because it's not their concern. And so
also, before we go, can I just say one more thing?
Absolutely.
There is a man who, like I was telling people before, who donated money to buy tickets for anybody who wanted to attend Solar Return but couldn't afford to buy a ticket. So if you can get here, I do still have 3 of those tickets available. Only one person emailed me for the tickets, and I gave it to her because nobody's emailing me. So Karen BFE at protonmail.com.
Proton.
If you can make it to Solar Return, but you don't have a ticket or you can't buy a ticket, or that's like the one thing you're worried about is getting your ticket, email me. I have 3 tickets to give to people who want it, who need it.
Yep.
I told the anonymous donor I'd make sure the people who needed it got it. So I'm putting it out there. I got 3 more.
Outstanding. And if those 3 get taken and you end up with 5 people or whatever, let me know. And I had mentioned before, I'm willing, if that's the holdup, right, then we'll take care of you, because I don't want that to stand in the way of people getting together with other people. If you have not ever gotten together with a group of like-minded people, and this is enormous, right, because there's so many people there, it will blow your fucking mind, and you got to do it, right? It's good for your soul. It really is. So
it is.
Don't let.
That's why I put in the promos, charge your electromagnetic field, because you get charged up. Your well gets filled up, that well of energy that you need to deal with the world as it is, day-to-day problems, stresses, blah, blah, blah. Like that, all that stuff drains your energy. So when you come to an event like this and you're around like-minded people and you have a good time and you laugh and you release that stress, you can then allow your well to be filled with good, positive energy.
Absolutely. And so again, I just would say, don't let that $77 stand between you and getting your well filled up. I don't know, it sounds corny, but we genuinely love you guys. Every time I read back through the chat logs, I'm struck by just what amazing people you are. I see you, right? Sue Finelli and Young Love and PRD and Chelsea, right? Thunder Chicken. You guys are awesome. David Reif, right? Allison Briscoe. Again, I can't get to everybody, but I see the way you care for others, right? And encouraging those who are down. It is wonderful, and this is exactly the kind of thing that is there in spades at the events like this. Again, I'm just now, in fact, this is perfectly timed, the solar return, because just the buzz from Flattoberfest is just sort of wearing off, right? And the world starts grinding on you again. This is a perfect time for it. And I'll point out, too, that in one of my conversations online, email back and forth with the owner of the company, with all the nonsense that's going on with that, I specifically pointed out that I was going to work, right? I was doing this as a work event. And actually, that saved me from a lot of hassle because according to the state of Washington, I would have had to quarantine for a full 2 weeks and get tested on my return if it was just a personal like vacation event or whatever. But the fact that I'm working in an official capacity means I just have to get tested. Again, it makes no sense whatsoever. It's just nonsense. It's just to inconvenience you. That's all it is. But it saved me a lot of hassle by simply saying, yeah, I'm doing work there. Because I am, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to work at making people happy. That's what I'm going to do. Anyway, we could probably go on and on and on about, look, stand up for yourself, stand up for others, take care of one another. I do have, here's what I want to mention real quick. I talked to Mark Bloom earlier via email. But if you're in the UK and you have some time, I got a listener who sent me an email, and she is awesome. Just the most wonderful attitude. But like many of us, she feels alone and isolated. And moreover, it makes it worse because not only is her family kind of pushing her out, but she's also fighting a rare version of bone cancer. And instead of what is the most popular thing now, which is to be the biggest victim possible and go, oh, woe is me, she doesn't have that attitude at all. In fact, she's looking for ways to help others. It's just remarkable. But she is isolated and alone. I don't know exactly where she's located. She just said a little village, English countryside village. So I've asked her if she's okay with telling me where that is. But if you're in the UK and you've got a minute, I'd love if you just ping me, unintended.consequences3@gmail.com. Let me know where you're at, and I'd love to just kind of overwhelm her with love, right? So if we can, whatever we can do, materially, emotionally, just show support so she doesn't feel alone. Because one of the biggest things that excited me was having talked to a couple of people in Finland. If you recall, some weeks ago, I guess it's been a couple of months now, I had scheduled a person from Finland to be on my show. And up until the last minute, I didn't realize I was actually talking to two different people. Very similar, right? And so we were, as I was coming close, I'm like, holy crap, I'd scheduled it and then realized it was actually two people. And so what I had to do at the very last minute was split the show and do one person on the one half and the other person. It was kind of awkward and embarrassing, but way cool. As it turned out, they got connected. And now there's, 6-7 people in Finland who are all getting together as a result of listening to my podcast. Unreal. I want to see this all over. Not just because of me, but because of you guys coming together. I know people are in Switzerland, New Zealand. I get contact from people down under in Australia, all over Europe. Only a couple of people in South America, but I am just strongly encouraged, if you have the opportunity to get together with people, encourage one another. Please do. It is super, super powerful. And this is an opportunity for those in the U.S. To get together and be around one another. Again, the proximity of fellowship. Love it. And that's what we got for you today. Parting words, Karen?
No, just that. Come to Solar Return if you can. If you are able to get here and you can't get a ticket, email me at karenbfe@protonmail.com. That's it. That's all I got. I got Strange World tonight with Mark Sargent, actually. So I'll be doing that later.
Doesn't get much stranger than Mark Sargent. Oh, and speaking of Mark, he's going to be this weekend. I'd be remiss if I didn't remind people. Coming up this Saturday, Neyland Park in Shelton, Washington. Mark will be there, as well as Ceiling Fan Man and myself and a whole bunch of other people, 2 p.m. at Neyland Park in Shelton, Washington. You can just quickly Google Maps that. You'll find it. And be happy to see you there. Probably a little potluck action, some food and fellowship. So that's this weekend as well. So since
there's going to be so much stuff going on. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
I'm stoked. You guys are the best. Fuck the fucking fuckers. We are the best. And we'll see you all again. See you all again soon. I'll be back on Thursday morning, as usual, for more poppycock until we can get our schedule figured out. Much love to Rose 777. I miss you, gal. But I'm so delighted. Thank you, Karen, for sitting in with me. It's so much better when you're here. Otherwise, I just sit there and I start to get a little bit misanthropic, and you help recenter me. So I appreciate that. Guys, have a great day, and we'll see you again real soon. Take care.
1, 2, 3. Cocks don't pop at all, poppycock cocks do poppy by far. And that's why all the folks on poppycock keep poppycocks in a jar. But once I met a girl on poppycock back in the poppycock hills, they won't let me back on poppycock, reckon they never will. Well, poppycock, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old poppycock, poppycock, you and me, Rose and Baldini. The earth don't spin at all on poppycock, flatter than a hot roadkill. And beer don't stick to balls on poppycock, reckon it never will. Once I met 2 folks on poppycock, one bald, the other likes cats. She wild as a rosy, quicker than a satellite, no poppycock about that. Well, poppycock, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old poppycock, poppycock, you and me, Rose and Baldini. Take a tray.
Oh, do-si-do. Fuck the fucking fuckers.
Sheep don't like to flock on poppycock, ain't no poppycock pins. You might just find yourself on poppycock, waking with a poppycock kin. And poppycock, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old poppycock, poppycock, you and me, Rose and Baldini. Why so freaking early? Poppycock, you and me.